Still got the hockey report?
I do. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Bald Guy and the Fat Boy. We did manage to get together and get an episode going. So, how you doing over there, Fat Boy?
Roll Tide.
How come I feel like you weren't as distraught over the Cowboys game as I was?
Because I expected it.
You expected it.
I wanted them to win. Don't get me wrong. I love the Cowboys. I don't love them. I don't love them that much, but I love them, and since Tony Romo, they are just they just all they do is just mediocrity at best.
They do the same thing they did with Tony Romo.
That's what I mean. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, but Tony Romo was an upgrade from what we had before that, dealing with who was the one that got in trouble for cocaine?
Quincy Carter.
Quincy Carter, yeah, Quincy Carter. I mean, you don't feel like that was an upgrade?
I'm not going to tell the fans where I pulled that out of.
Okay. Yeah, they all know. They all know. Anyway, all right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Cowboys' loss. First, let's talk about the fact that the little bit of solace we get is the Eagles suck too. So can we take that a little bit? I mean, what do you mean kinda? There's no kinda. They're sitting there the same place we are today.
Well, here's the issue though. We make these stupid picks, and I picked the Eagles, so that's where I go kind of at, but it don't matter.
Well, I mean, I told you they were going to get beat. I told you the locker room was gone. I didn't think that about the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys were good.
You don't do this nearly enough. You were right, Bald Guy. See, you don't do that nearly enough when I am, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. You've been right a couple times too. I don't want to take that away from you.
There he is. All right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Where do you want to start with? I mean, you noticed that I'm wearing a hockey hat. I don't mean that's not any indication where we're starting. I just don't want to put on any other kind of hat right now. I got problems with my Bamas. I got problems with my Cowboys. I got problems.
You wore a Rangers hat whenever you did your pick segment, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I did.
So
at least they're defending champions or something.
I know, until the season starts, and then we just start all over again.
Exactly.
And there's no world champions. But I don't know, where do you want to start first? How about I've got you on here. We've got to talk about Alabama and Nick Saban retiring.
I put out a short that was good, and it summed up how I felt. I'm proud that he's 72 years old, Charlie. He had to, I mean, at some point he was going to retire. He kind of pulled this one a little bit out of nowhere, meaning we knew that he was going to retire, but I thought we would get a tad bit more notice. But other than that, my only issue with the whole situation was the fact of and I know he had to recruit, but there's some personal stuff in here too. I just don't know if he had to recruit so much with the fact that he was leaving and not tell anybody. And he may have told them in the recruiting meetings. We have no idea.
I don't think he did. I don't know. Because I don't think until you make that announcement, I don't think that's 100%. You know what you're going to do. And I also think if they won the national title, I don't know if he retires.
Yeah, and I don't know that either. And but we have no real proof of that. So that's just us. That's us speculating about the situation. Right. I just know I don't think he'll coach anymore. I don't either. Like Belichick's going to go back into coaching. Pete Carroll.
That's other news. Everybody is. I mean, we all know Bill Belichick is gone from after 24 years. He's out in New England. So where's he going to go? What's he going? He's interviewed. He talked to the Falcons. I'm sure the Chargers are going to talk to him. I think he probably gets his pick. The question is, who is in win now mode that you can put Belichick with versus somebody that's looking for long term. Because I think anybody that's looking for long term is going to go more Jim Harbaugh than they are Belichick at this point.
Yeah, like the Chargers. I think the Chargers will go Harbaugh. But the one that surprised me that's out already on Belichick was the Commanders. I just knew that the Commanders would be in on Belichick, but for whatever reason they're not, and I really don't know the reason why unless they've already got somebody in mind.
Well, hadn't they already went in, and who's their GM now? Aren't they doing like a GM by committee kind of thing?
I don't, you know, I have
I,
no
I,
idea.
I think they're doing something like that. And he's going to want more power than a system that already has a established GM in place.
Yeah, I understand that. I just thought the Commanders. To me, the Commanders would have been a really good fit for Belichick.
He could have been.
Yeah,
But if they would have turned everything over to him, but I don't think they wanted to do that.
yeah,
What are you doing over there? You blinked out on me.
yeah. Hold on a minute. I'm all
You getting
things.
text messages? Hold on, we can't hear you right now. You go. Now we can. Now you're back.
I hit the wrong button, of course. I got technical difficulties for a change.
Yeah, well, I'm outside of my normal setup because I'm recording in a hotel room. So, but anyway, you back with us now?
Now I'm loose. Now I've lost sound. Well,
We still hear you.
but I lost your sound. I got it now.
Okay. We're back.
I end. Lord have
Okay.
mercy. Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, Belichick, how do you feel about his fit with the Cowboys?
I talked to somebody else. I talked to the hockey intern, and we both hate it. We don't think he fits. You don't want Dan Quinn because you think the defense was suspect during the playoff game, which is fine. My only problem with that is I don't know that he got he gets the benefit of the doubt on the secondary being banged up and hurt. Um, and I think that the defense got in such a big hole they put their heads down. I don't know if that's on coaching or on the players or what. So if it were me,
Of course that's on coaching. What do you mean?
if it were up to me though, I would get rid of McCarthy and go to Dan Quinn. But you don't agree with that, so and
Well,
I don't.
one of the problems I have, it's the same problem I have with Vrabel. I have it with Belichick, um, and I even have with Dan Quinn. Right? It's an offensive coaches league, so all these are defensive guys. You're not going to win with defensive guys.
So you don't see hiring a defensive guy and getting getting a new up and coming offensive coordinator.
It has to be somebody like Belichick that can come in and get the offensive coordinator to go work with him. I mean,
why can't Dan Quinn do that?
Because we've saw Dan Quinn as a head coach. Everybody needs to quit forgetting what Dan Quinn looked like as a head coach.
Okay, that's fine. But
let me ask you. Dan Quinn was a head coach. Dan Quinn had his best team in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
And who, after they jumped out to a big lead, come back and destroyed them?
I don't know. I can't remember all that.
Wasn't that the Patriots Super Bowl?
Probably. I mean, I don't watch. Typically, I watch the commercials during the Super Bowl. My team's not in.
Okay. All right. So it's Belichick. So Belichick has already proven he's a better coach than Quinn. And it's great that Quinn come in.
Okay.
I think Quinn is a great DC.
Okay. Then fine. Then go get Jim Harbaugh and shut up.
Okay. But I don't know how. I could see Belichick working better just because we know he's going to want more power than Jerry's wanting to give up. Jerry will allow him to have it for a short period of time. And in that time, if we end up going to a Super Bowl, great. I mean, I think that's your window. I think Harbaugh wants all that power, and it's going to be for 10 plus years. And Jerry doesn't even know if he has 10 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I have suggestions. I have wants, but I don't have the answer. My team didn't get the coach I wanted, so we're just going to have to make do.
Yeah, but
From
your
what we,
team got a good coach.
yeah, we got a good coach, but that's not the coach I wanted.
Well, but we talked about this off camera, but I don't think any of the coaches that you wanted were willing to come in and follow Saban. I think they
No,
wanted somebody else to come in and then they'll come in and take over the program if the
agree that
timeline
I
works out.
like DeBoer. I'm not denigrating DeBoer. That's not my issue. I just from 1 year at Washington, I just I just didn't have him on my radar, and now that he is, I'm okay with it. I'm just still a little bit bummed out that I didn't get the coach I wanted.
Well,
And for
but
the
you
crowd,
don't even.
and for the crowd out there, the coach I wanted is the former Alabama player at Houston, the head coach at Houston. Um, I don't know what his salary is, but I guarantee that Alabama could have beat it. Um, and it
But I
just
think D'Amico Ryans wants to be in the pros. I don't think he wants to be in college.
well, maybe so, but that's still the head coach I wanted.
Okay, and here's a name I heard, and you tell me what you think about this. What do you think about, again, defensive guy, but what do you think about uh Deion Sanders as the coach of the Cowboys?
I saw an interview with Dion, and believe it or not, Dion doesn't want to leave college. He likes he does he doesn't want the attitude of the pros. He wants the attitude of the kids. So now that I don't know,
Hey,
maybe.
Deion didn't want to go to one of the bigger programs, and he wanted to stay with the HBCUs to where he could impact the community and all that until Colorado come calling.
Well,
So
I don't know.
a
Maybe
lot of times until it's in front of you and it's an option, you don't want to go do anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man.
I don't like him for the job. I don't. I mean, I think he's a great college coach. I don't like him to be the coach of the Cowboys.
I don't either.
So
I don't know. There's just, to be honest with you, I'm not sure Jerry's going to fire McCarthy.
I'm not either. I mean, like I said in my other video, I think it should have happened already. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he's wanting everything to settle down and everybody to do that, but he fell in love with McCarthy when McCarthy come up and interviewed and they stayed up drinking scotch all night and watching tape or whatever that they did. And I mean, he was their guy. And hey, he's been great in the regular season. And anywhere else, that would be loved, adored, and respected. But he's in Dallas, and that doesn't go around here.
I agree. But I don't know. I don't know if this is us just wanting change for the sake of change. If we're going to change something, and I know I'd rather keep the coach and change quarterbacks.
Oh my goodness!
And when well, and we did give up a draft pick for a quarterback. We don't know that he's got it. But I would rather go and see if he has it as opposed to keep doing what we're doing. You know that you do know the definition of insanity, correct?
Right is to trade away your all-pro quarterback to see what you have behind him, and
No,
a guy
that's
that couldn't make it in an awesome.
you did not hear me say the word trade away. There's a seat over there on the sideline. It's called the bench.
And you're not going
And
to pay him $50-something million next year to sit on the bench.
for they don't have to pay him for the whole year.
No,
You
they have to
give
pay him either way.
no, you don't want to be you don't understand what I'm saying. You give at the beginning of the season, preseason included, you give Trey Lance all the preseason. You give Trey Lance the first 3 or 4 games of the regular season. If he sucks, then we move on and go right back to Dak.
No,
If
you
Dak
do
don't like
not
it,
sit your franchise
if
quarterback to
Dak
try
doesn't
out
like
the new guy.
Dak doesn't like it, then he can play. What's that guy from San Francisco that decided to protest? What was his name? Colin Kaepernick. If Dak don't like it, he can throw a Colin Kaepernick and do whatever he does. But we have to figure out if what we gave our third round pick for
Fourth round.
whatever pick.
Hey,
Our
but here's
fourth
the
round pick.
problem. Those players know. And if you come in and you set your starting quarterback that they know is miles better than this guy that you got to be a competent backup, then you're going to lose your team.
Okay. Then you have another option. You have another option. You do what you just said, and you see if there's anybody willing to trade for your. I'm going to put this in quotations. You ready? I got my fingers up. Your all-pro quarterback.
Uh-huh.
I put that. If there's anybody willing to trade any kind of pick for him to take a quarterback in the draft, you start over. Because I'm done. I told you I was done. I am completely done. I'll eat the cash. I'll start all over. I'll do whatever it takes to get him out the door.
I have no problem having a cheap quarterback in order to make your team better, right? But the problem is when you find your guy, and for better or worse, he's our guy. There's a
No,
lot of
no,
teams.
no.
Yes, he is.
We're at the end of him being our guy.
Well, I don't think you are yet. I think you're right in the middle of him being there. I also think if our defense has a chance to stop the offense, the Green Bay's offense in that game, guess what? I don't think he throws those 2 interceptions or none of that. I think we got in a hole, and that's what put him in a bind. You can say whatever you want to. That's your problem.
You can say whatever you want to. You can justify reasons to keep him, and to me, there is no reason to keep him. It's time to punt. To use a football reference, we are done. You're not done, but the rest of us are done. I talked to everybody I talked to other than you. Yeah, you're the only one I talked to that is not ready to move on, regardless of the consequences.
I know. That's because I'm the voice of reason, and y'all don't really understand what y'all are asking for.
Well, okay, fine. You're the voice of reason. We don't want reason. We want to change.
Yeah, but to change and suck is not a good option.
Okay, well that's fine. All you gotta do is prove the change suck, and then I'll apologize later. But I'm done. It's like when we were kids. It was like when we were kids. We would do something. We would do something wrong, and then we would think about the consequences. We wouldn't care about the consequences. We would just do it anyway, and then apologize for it later.
Hey, but we're not all kids.
I don't know what to tell you. You and I, there's no way. I mean, if I had the choice, if you gave me the choice to keep McCarthy or keep Dak, I'm keeping McCarthy.
What do you feel like McCarthy's done?
I don't.
You just sat there and told me Dan Quinn's better than he is as a coach, and all these other people.
I don't really necessarily want to keep McCarthy. That was not my point of what I just said. I just said if I had a choice between Dak and McCarthy, without hesitation, it would be McCarthy. That's how much I want to get rid of Dak.
Okay, I understand your Dak hate and whatever that is, because you haven't seen this team with a mediocre quarterback. Your quarterback is top 10, so you don't remember what it's like to have one lower than that.
I've seen this team with a mediocre quarterback for however long Dak's been there. I'm sorry that you
There's no way you believe that. There's no way you believe that.
No, I didn't believe it. I was up until this year. I was on your side. This year, it's done. I don't care. I'll try Trey Lance. What's our other backup quarterback that we had?
Cooper Rush.
I'll try Cooper Rush. I'll go to the UFL. Give me AJ McCarron of the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Formerly of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yeah, we know. You'd love to get him in there.
No, all the reason I even brought him up, he was on a TV show I watched last night, and he's playing beer pong on Barmageddon. So therefore, I would rather take somebody playing beer pong on Barmageddon than I would Dak Prescott.
Oh man, I just don't understand. Anyway, as bad as this is, as bad as I hate it, as bad as I hate the loss and all that, and I know Dak screwed up in it. I'm not saying he didn't. Okay, he definitely didn't pull us out of it. But come on. If your players come out in this game and your defense isn't fired up and you go out there and you get kicked in the teeth every time that they get the ball, what do you want them to do? All they're doing is looking around, ducking their head. The whole team. They did not come out ready to play, and that is culture, and that's on the coach.
Okay.
And it happened against San Francisco, and it happened in the playoffs. Two biggest games you couldn't lose.
Question. It didn't look like to me during the game that CeeDee Lamb had a problem with the coach. It looked, for whatever reason, it looked like the CeeDee Lamb, our number one player to me on offense, it looked like he had a problem with the quarterback. If CeeDee Lamb has a problem with the quarterback, then the quarterback needs to go.
You think he has a problem, or they were just trying to communicate?
No, I think he has a problem.
Here's what I think the problem was. I think CD thought he was open like every great receiver thinks he does. But if you go back and look, they had our predictable offense. Yeah, it was great. But once people started seeing it and you saw how they started defending it, and we didn't change it because it was too late in the year or whatever his excuse was, he was bracketed with people over the top and coming from the sides. He wasn't open. Every great receiver is going to tell you, I'm open on every play. That's the way they should feel. And you saw what happened. So what that comes back to is, hey, well, he's your best player. You've got to try to force him the ball. And that's how we got the pick six, is we were forcing the ball to CD. So he comes in on a slant. They had a guy on the backside and a linebacker sitting there in zone coverage, and the linebacker jumped the route. So that's how we threw the interception, is trying to feed your best player the ball because he thought he was open. So maybe a whining receiver shouldn't be how we decide where we're going to put the ball. Maybe. Go ahead. I'm done.
Sometimes you really annoy me when you're right, but that's not. But that was my whole point. Is my whole point about CD is he's just tired of Dak, just like I'm tired of Dak.
I don't think he's tired of Dak. He's tired of losing. He's tired of losing. He's tired of going out there, and he knows if he doesn't have a big game in the playoffs or in these big games, guess what? It's good. Oh, you disappear when it matters most and everything like that. So he wants the ball. I want my best receiver to want the ball. I just need our coaches and our offensive staff to game plan to where they can get him open against whatever defense they throw out there. That's what I want.
We're not going to fix it right now. We've been on this topic too long. But
I know Jerry Jones isn't going to fix it. This is the whole podcast. This is all we're doing. We're talking about coaching, where these other coaches are going to land, and we're dropping about the Cowboys.
That's not my point. My point is, I can't. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and bang my head against the wall trying to convince you that your strategy is just as wrong as my strategy.
I mean, I don't know what happens. I don't know where we go.
I don't care. I don't care if we keep McCarthy or not. If we do, fine. If we don't, fine. I don't care. I mean, I don't care if Dan Quinn goes to coach somewhere else. If he does, fine. If we don't, fine. Yeah, I don't care if we change much on defense. If we do, fine. If we don't, fine. There's only one thing I care about. One. If Dak Prescott is the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys this next season, I'm going to boycott. BOYCOTT, boycott the Dallas Cowboys. That's it.
Okay, well, we won't see you watching. See
and until they get rid of him, I'm done with them because he is the problem.
Well, throw the hat away and turn off the TV. He's going to be your quarterback.
No, well, he may be, but I'm smart enough as a true Dallas fan to be able to turn the dadgum person off.
It is ridiculous.
It is my privilege.
Because you said there's one thing. There's one thing. I'm a fan, and there's one thing I'm worried about next year. You know what the thing should be? This is probably the problem. Everybody gets in there. You know what the one thing should be?
What's the one thing?
Winning. That's the only thing we're worried about, is winning. I don't care if it's the exact same team, exact same coaching staff.
As long as Dak Prescott's there, we ain't never going to win nothing. Not a sack race, not a bear crawl, not a football game. We ain't winning nothing as long as Dak Prescott's there.
You just won the NFC East with him there. So don't say you're not going to win nothing.
Wow. Yeah. That's like being the nicest guy in prison, dude.
Maybe.
Wow.
Nicest guy in prison, I don't think it works out too good for.
Yeah, that's like winning the popularity award for being the nicest guy in prison. It just don't mean a damn thing.
It's like being the best kisser at your family reunion.
Yeah,
It's,
for sure.
it's what I hear
And
about in Alabama.
it's
I don't know.
the
You
only
have to
person
tell
that
me.
says it's the only person that says you're the best kisser is your sister. So I don't want to hear it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I have made my choice. I am done. All I'm going to be on here is, I mean, talking about reasons why they suck until they get rid of Dak.
Okay, so you suck. We're going to try to talk about some other stuff next week. We'll put out some videos with our picks before we get to the playoffs this
And
weekend.
if the podcast people don't like this episode, then they don't like podcasts because this has been nothing but the truest conversation me and you have ever had.
You think?
Yeah.
It's been pretty good. Well, everything's pretty raw, man. So that's just the way it is. But all right, guys, like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see y'all next time.
Roll Tide.